here from Party Foul, and I got my son Adam here. I have been playing Warmachine for about 6 years, and we've been making videos for some of those years, but lately we haven't been making very many videos. Part of that is just like life catching up with us, family, work, and that sort of thing. We had an idea where we kind of like hopefully try to start from scratch and do like a learn to play Warmachine video, and I thought it'd be a good time, now that my son is 13 and super genius. He's ready to like learn a little bit about the game, see if he likes it. So that's about me. I'm gonna get him to tell you a bit about himself.
Well, I'm 13. I played a little bit of Warmachine before, but not a lot. I like to play kind of like board games like Zombicide and also like other like card games. But I like to play
Mansions of Madness.
Yeah, Mansions of Madness. We just got that. And then I also like to play video games like Battlefield 5 and Call of Duty.
And Minecraft.
And Minecraft, yeah.
Who doesn't like to play Minecraft? So in this video series, we're going to start super simple, and then we're going to kind of build on from there. And the first thing we're going to cover is just like the super duper basics of the game, which you may know, maybe Adam will know, maybe if you feel like you know the basics, you can skip to the next video. But I just want to make sure that Adam is clear on all the super basics. So, first of all, the nature of the game is it's turn-based. So, I mean, this seems like it's simple, but one player takes a turn with their army, their models, and the other player takes a turn with their models, right? And each player turn is broken down into model activations. So when it's your turn, you're going to activate all your models. You don't have to activate all your models, but it's usually a good idea to activate them. And those model activations are broken down into 2 steps: movement and their combat action. Okay? So the movement can be one of 4 things. They could forfeit their movement to either gain an aiming bonus or to not trigger some type of effect that triggers on movement or that sort of thing. They can advance, they can charge, or they can run. That's the 4 things you can kind of do with your movement. There are some special things, but we're going to talk about that later, like power attacks and that sort of thing. Action can be one of 3 things. They can make a melee attack against a model within their melee range, and when we look at the model cards and how far the models can attack, each model has, I should probably get the widgets and stuff like that, we'll do that in a sec. Models have a melee range. So when you look at this model, you look at her card, and it'll tell you that her spear can attack models within 2 inches of her, like 2 inches or closer, right? But she has another weapon, she has the mount, and the mount only has a ½ inch melee range. So if this model's here, she can attack her with the spear, but not with the mount, okay? You can make a ranged attack on a model within the weapon's range. So this girl, has a bow, and if you look on the card, you'll see the bow has a 12-inch range. So you can measure from the model. It's important to note, so the models are super cool, I love them, it's a big aspect of the game that I love, but in terms of the mechanics of the game and the rules of the game, the base of the model is the model. So you make all measurements from the base of the model.
Is there like a certain spot that you start the measurements?
Just anywhere on the edge.
Okay.
Okay? So if you have to measure range, you measure from the edge of the base to the edge of the target to see whether or not it's in range. Okay? And the last thing you can do with your action is perform a star action or ability. There may be some other outlying cases of stuff you can do, but those are the 3 main things that a model can do. So, there's more than one type of model, but I'm saying there's 2 groups of models. There's models that activate separately, like on their own, and there's models that activate together. Okay, so we have a bunch of examples here. These are warlocks, this is a solo, this is a war beast, this is a war beast, this is a war beast. They all activate separately. So when you're playing your opponent, you're like, I'm going to activate Wolf Lord Morag, and then you declare what you're going to do with his movement and what you're going to do with his action. With units, all the models activate together. Okay? I'll get a little more into units and stuff like that, but that's an important distinction when you're activating. And when you start an activation of a model or a unit, you have to finish with that thing. So if I say I'm activating this unit of Wolves of Obros, and they're going to charge, you have to complete all their charge movement, all their charge attacks and stuff like that. Okay? Any questions so far? That's why I've got you here, the learner.
Yeah, I think it's so. Is there any like special things that like kind of differences between instead of just these guys activate as a group and these guys activate solo? Is there like any kind of good and bad things about that? Or?
You mean like, is there any benefit to activating as a group?
Yeah.
Well, individual models, like I mentioned before, can only attack enemy models or even friendly models. You can actually, in this game, you can actually attack friendly models because there are some instances where you want to kill your own friendly models. It does happen. So this model can only attack models within his melee range, which is 1 inch, right? So his presence on the battlefield is like, I charge this guy and I kill him and him, or something like that, right? Whereas a unit, all these guys, except for the guy with the flag, have a 2 inch melee range, right? So if they charge in, you can make multiple attacks on multiple models.
Okay.
Or you can have them all gang up on a model, right? Another benefit of having a unit over an individual guy is that your opponent needs to kill, in this case, 12 guys before the unit is destroyed, right? Whereas this is just one model. Technically there's 2 because this guy has a dismount model, but if it's like this guy, he just has to kill that guy. There's benefits and differences to either, right?
Mm-hmm.
But these guys have what you would call more table presence because they can take up more space.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And there's also something called free strikes. So like if these are enemy models, and say you've got your dude back here and you want to protect him, these guys can't just run through and attack this guy unless they have a special ability that allows them to ignore these guys. Because if they run through here, they have to take free strikes and stuff. So that's kind of the benefit. We'll get into more of the details and stuff, but that's generally the difference between models that activate separately and together. They both have their strengths and benefits.
Okay.
Okay?